My wife Sarah, 39 female, has a son, Christopher, 20 male, from her previous marriage. Because of how my wife and I got together, there was a lot of strife in her divorce from her ex, and there was a lot of tumult in Christopher's life, and he was only 8 at the time. For a few years, my wife tried her best and tried everything to help him, but it was like the more she tried, the further away he got. It came to a head when he was 12 and she caught him trying to smoke, and then he almost broke her jaw when she stopped him. After that, she stopped trying to force the custody and just let him stay with his dad. When he was 14 and we had our son, she told him that his brother was born and that even if he didn't want to be around her, it didn't mean he couldn't love his brother. He just responded with, "Go screw yourself." She tried the same thing 3 years later when our daughter was born, but got no response this time. Well, 2 days ago she got a call from her ex and he was crying, and apparently Christopher is dying. He has cancer and they found it very late. And he's optimistically only got a month left, and he's been begging to see her. So I've told my wife to go and spend the month with him. She can work online for a month, take leave, or quit if they don't understand. However, she's refused, and she's using everything from work to needing to take care of our kids to even what if it's just a trick to hurt me more as excuses not to go. At the same time, she keeps crying, muttering about thinking she had more time, ignoring our kids, and looking at old photo albums of her and Christopher. It came to a head this morning when I caught her having a breakdown in her car before going to work. I begged her to reconsider when I saw, and she called me an idiot for trying to push her into going. I know he's not my son and that I have no right over him, but not going is tearing Sarah apart. So am I the idiot for telling my wife to go and see her son before it's too late? A mother should never abandon her child, even at the risk of being hurt. She needs to grow up, be a mother, and see that boy. If he wants to hurt her again before he dies, who cares? If there's even the slightest chance her child needs her, then she better damn well step up and go to him. She is 100% a selfish idiot for hesitating on this. As his mom, her only job is to love him no matter what. You're not the idiot for encouraging her to see him. She is an idiot and as selfish as a person can be. OP, support her no matter what her decision is. I presume she cheated on her husband with you, and that's why the son wants nothing to do with her, which is understandable, especially for a kid. However, she will regret not saying goodbye to her son for the rest of her life if she doesn't do it now while she still can. Going is just more challenging to do. Not going is easier, but it will haunt her forever because she will never know how it would have gone. She needs to get closure and say goodbye. I don't care if it was infidelity, but you were never in her shoes to experience all of this. It's her choice. Can I make a recommendation? Or a couple? Why on God's earth can't they have a phone call or a few before any visitation is planned? Your wife is very aware he could use this visit as an opportunity to be hateful to her, so I can see why she's hesitating. What if she does go and the last thing she hears from him is something terrible? At least a phone call between them could at least set a tone. If you can convince her to visit, why don't you initially volunteer to go with her? You don't have to visit, but you could be with her for the trip. If she decides to stay longer, you could come home. Thank you for having some actual sanity. Some broken bonds are better off broken, and nothing can fix them. It's his wife's choice and only hers. Why does she have to stop her life for someone who chose to have no relationship with her for years other than to be angry and aggressive? Phone call, video call, if things seem good, consider a short trip. Society is too quick to push the family narrative that you always have to forgive and forget. There are plenty of estrangements out there that are safe and beneficial. Update: when our kids were born, it was not the only 2 times my wife tried to reach out and ask if he was ready to see her. It's just when our son was born was the only time that he responded. She tried until his graduation, when even his father tried to get him to invite her. She sent him money, presents, and everything for his birthdays. As for the incident when he was 12, he did so with a hockey stick and then kicked her when she fell. She forgave him for that because she knew what he was going through and that he was her child, but she decided to stop seeing him then because she didn't want her presence in his life to make him more mad. She took him to therapy. She tried so much, but he was non-responsive then. Thanks for your advice. My 24 male best friend Lewis, 24 male, has a super weird girlfriend. Not just in the way she acts, but her whole personality too. She believes in tarot cards, palmistry, crystal energy, and all that sort of crazy stuff. He started to bring her to group meetups and she seemed relatively chill. She was just chatting and smoking some pot and stuff. One time when I was at Lewis's house though, she asked me what my zodiac sign was and told me what crystals match my energy. There was another time when one of our other friends was going through a breakup and she just straight up said to him, "I guess that's what happens when a Virgo dates an Aries." It's just my opinion that anyone who believes in this stuff probably has a screw loose up there, but I didn't say anything because that's his girlfriend. She started to talk about this crap more and more. I invited Lewis round to my house one day, and when he arrived, his girlfriend was there too. I wasn't rude, but I wasn't super friendly to her because I didn't even invite her. For a while, we were watching a movie until she pulled out a pack of those tarot cards. She started telling me that she wanted to give me a reading, and I said no thanks. But she started pushing, saying she just wanted to see what my reading came out as. I think the fact that this was in my house and that I hadn't even invited her made me fly off the handle, and I ended up saying loud, but not shouting at all, "I have a reading for you. Stop this crap and get real." She asked if I was being serious, and Lewis thought I was joking. I kept a straight face and said I wasn't, and that I was fed up with all this psycho crap. His girlfriend started crying and calling me names, and Lewis said, "Why are you being such an idiot?" before leaving. A few other friends that know us all have literally agreed with me, saying that she tries to push that crap on anyone and they're fed up too, but some others say that I should have just let her do it and get it over and done with. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot. Lewis for bringing her along when she wasn't invited, her for not taking no for an answer. You're just being an idiot about the whole thing. So what she believes in is something that you don't. Who are you to say anything about it when you know nothing about it? It's called being tactful, and you completely missed the mark, and it may cause quite a rift in your friendship with Lewis. All the best, OP. Not the idiot. In general, your spirituality and beliefs should be kept to yourself or amongst those with similar beliefs. Imagine if she kept whipping out those personality tests during group hangouts, she would obviously be the idiot. It's the same thing. If a Mormon refuses to leave your doorstep after you said no, you would be in your right to curse and kick them out. Her pushing you to participate in her spiritual beliefs against your will deserved the same treatment. My fiancé and I are high school sweethearts. We lived together for about 3.5 years in college, but I left him cause for the last 2 years he quit his job, complained non-stop about failing classes, but did nothing but sleep and play video games, didn't pay his share of the bills, but expected me to do all the cleaning and cooking while working 2 jobs and school full-time, then was mean to me. Time passes, he attends therapy, graduates, stabilizes, and honestly becomes such a good man. We reconnected and dated again. Life happens and we ended up in different cities due to work. We're now engaged. He's under contract, so it's expected I move with him. He also just bought a house, because his mortgage for a 3-bedroomed house is cheaper than he was paying for a 1-bed apartment. He put $15,000 down. We talked about me paying $900 a month towards bills, which I had no issue with at first. He mentions getting a prenup. This rubs me the wrong way. I understand wanting to protect assets, but we've been together since 15, and if we put tally marks to it, he owes me money. I would have to relocate and find a new job in his town, and the only reason I go there is for him. I agreed, but told him we needed to settle his debts with me and have an established leasing agreement. This offended and made him super upset. We have a notarized contract because I took out $10,000 in loans after he lost his scholarships one semester and was denied approval. Despite this, I've been paying and never asked for money back before now. His car cost $6,000 and I loaned him $2,500 of it. I never got a dime back, though he said he would pay it back. I never really pressed it. I paid almost all bills 2 years after he quit his job. I didn't ask for any back, but I sure as heck pointed it out, and I decided it would only be fair to pay for a market room rate. We live in the south and that's $500–650 utilities included. I also started requesting half of the vet bills as kitty support since one of our cats has diabetes. He's taken the changes as a champ, but I can tell he's super stressed out and sad. He literally makes double what I make at the moment, but I know he never expected or maybe even remembers all the costs I've bitten for this relationship. I feel guilty because I never committed with expectations of it being returned, so when he suggested it, I don't know why I felt salty. Then I got a list of my costs, which hurt him. Am I an idiot? Did I go too far? Not the idiot. Sounds like you put half of the house money down when you paid for his education. Tally it up and get a lawyer to write up a contract that forgives the debt in lieu of equity in the house. He doesn't sound like someone I would uproot my life and move to a different state for, but if love is enough of a reason for you, good luck. You loaned him $12,500 years ago and he has yet to pay you back. but he put $15,000 down on the house and now he wants to start keeping track. Girl, get out before it gets worse. I'm also not convinced that he's all better now he has a job. If he expected you to work and do all the housework while he played video games just a few years ago, that is way too close to now for me. You are one layoff away from being right back there, and with a prenuptial, you're not going to be getting any equity for the money you're putting towards the mortgage. Let me guess, he wants you to pay more than half too, right? Wait until they have kids. I wonder who's going to be doing all the work again. OP, he had the $15,000 to put on a house but never once thought, gee, let me pay my girl back. No, he's not a good man. Oh honey, I know the bar is low for men, but surely you can find a better one. For some context, I bought my second home on the beach in Florida 2 years ago, and it's fully paid off. Recently, my sister had her third kid. Her husband and their 3 kids live in a 2-bedroom apartment and have recently been unable to continue making rent. They're due for eviction by the end of next month. They plan on living with my parents for the time being and don't have any prospects to get their place again soon. So my mom called me up and asked if I would consider selling my beach house to help them purchase their own home, because I could probably get a similar home somewhere else near the beach for less than half the price, and give my sister a quarter of it so they could buy a house with enough room for their kids, since I only used it a couple of months of the year. I told her I loved my beach house and that the prices were only rising and I wouldn't give up the location for anything. She seemed to accept my answer, but recently I've been getting tons of calls from everyone berating me for not wanting to give up a personal luxury so that I could help my family. Am I the idiot for refusing to give up something so my sister and her family could afford a home? So she can't afford a house, lives in a 2-bedroom apartment, has a third kid. They can't afford the apartment, so they're somehow going to magically afford a home. She has no plans to start living within her means and is having a tantrum about it. OP, you're not the idiot. She's a hole that you can throw money in, but anyone who makes the above decisions will manage to outspend any amount of money you give her. Is the plan for you also to permanently finance her taxes? The government is notoriously calm and relaxed about skipping property tax payments, insurance, utilities and repairs. And who's to say this third kid will be the last? And remember, you have to set money aside to put her kids through college. Like, when would this end? OP would just end up supporting her siblings' family. Honestly, OP, the next time the entitled brat calls to criticize you for working hard and being successful, offer to pay for brother-in-law's vasectomy so they can possibly catch up someday. Jesus, tell me you're the scapegoat without telling me you're the scapegoat. Your mom wants you to sell a home you bought with your hard-earned money and give that money to your broke-down sister and husband. I get that your mom wants her piece back, but she doesn't get it at your expense. Telling your sister that you said no and egging the situation on is just chef's kiss, top-shelf idiot behavior from mommy dearest. Put them on block for 6 months. Avoid them during the holidays. Good God, the entitlement of people. Context. I, 36 female, live next door to new tenants who moved in some 6 months ago and they have a toddler. He shrieks at all times of the day and does the whole throwing himself on the ground tantrum thing multiple times a day. Due to the hybrid work model, I work from home 3 days a week. It's become a regular occurrence to have numerous instances of managers and clients asking why there's a child crying. Over the weekend, I met my neighbour upstairs and she asked me if I too woke up early in shock. Context, last Saturday the whole building woke up at 5:45 a.m. because the child was screaming and it went on for a good 20 minutes. The child is healthy, regularly see the child in the play area and the street. The mother is a stay-at-home mom. There's no neglect, the child is well looked after. He attends a play school in the mornings but has yet to go this week. Now on to what happened today. I'm working on something critical while handing off my responsibilities due to a transition and have back-to-back calls. Over 4 hours I had to keep pausing my call. At one point, an important client, in another continent, asked me if I needed to be excused to take care of my child and if I should reschedule the call. Another person on the call chimed in with the sentence, "We should not be neglecting a child because our call is running long." I apologized to them and informed them that that was my neighbor's child. They mentioned how it sounds like it's happening in my house. After the call ended, I went out to the balcony and, in a very respectful way, asked the mother if the child was unwell. She didn't like it and asked why. I asked her again if the baby was unwell and she said no. She mentioned she took away something he was trying to eat and that's why he was crying. I explained to her what happened on my calls and she snapped, "He's a baby, what do you expect?" I asked her if I didn't talk to the child's mother, who else do I speak to? I explained to her that I completely understand the challenges of being a mother and I'm sure it's overwhelming, but it happens so often daily and is not letting me focus. She started crying. Am I the idiot? I'm going to lean to no idiots here, but this isn't something you need to be involving yourself with. Tell the landlord it's up to them to enforce solutions to noise problems. That way it's documented, and if other people complain, it can be dealt with more directly. Also, having said that, it isn't that normal. Kids are loud and yeah, they scream sometimes, but not constantly unless something's wrong. And that reaction says Mom knows it's a problem but doesn't know what to do. If she had it under control, she'd be apologetic. Contact building management or your landlord. Ask yourself, what would you do if this was noisy from a different source? If your neighbor was loudly playing music or yelling, or had an animal barking constantly, it's very clearly a violation of any noise policy your building definitely has. You're allowed to have peace in your own unit. It's not an unreasonable expectation. I think people get all twisted around because it's just a kid. I know it sounds heartless, but I wish we had child-free apartment buildings. Peak delusional take. You can easily stop playing music by pressing a button, unlike how toddlers work. People are not entitled to their apartment always being an ideal workspace. There is no right to perfect work-from-home conditions. Daytime noise is standard for apartment, urban and suburban living. If you want more quiet, go into the actual office or move to the middle of nowhere.